Okay, so now that we have classified the inventions that you came up with earlier, let's start with group number 2. Alan, tell us what was behind the categorizations there.
Alright, we put the first gasoline powered car demonstrated in transportation because that was a method of transportation. We also put railroads and
This one here?
yeah.
Ruby, can you help him?
And
Span the continent.
Yeah, railroads span the continent.
and
Electricity driving machines.
Yes.
And the bros build first practical American car.
Okay. So, I mentioned this earlier. What kind of thought went into here? There was some kind of a system as far as grouping this here. What's that called? What did you use?
we used
Reasoning.
Reasoning. So there was some form of reasoning
logic.
and logic. So our thought process was classified, right, into categories. And we're gonna, I see that both groups have one thing that is different, at least. We'll see. Let's start here now. Ruby.
Under lifestyle, we put the first Kodak camera, the first typewriter marketed, and the first American practical car.
Okay.
And we put that there like for reasons that we used that in life, and it was like more like she would say it was personal. It was really like it's just something personal. Like not everyone
It
has a
wasn't a
camera.
necessity.
Yeah.
That is where I heard you starting, where she kept saying it's for personal use. And I think that's the closest you could have gotten as far as the category lifestyle. And it's true. Cameras, typewriters, and the car changed our daily lives, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, industry. Sarah, I know you were not in that group, but I'm sure you have a few things to say about that. Do you see their logic?
Not really.
Okay.
I feel like industry should be more like things uprising things, machinery, factories.
That to you is industry. Okay? But 3 of you thought of a different way of classifying it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And who came up with that?
I did. I'm the one that categorized all those things, and it's because the reason I put some of those things in there was because they contributed to the industries, and they're some of the things that like help the industries rise, and that's kind of why I put some of them in there.
That is a category in itself. Okay. She is right, and you are right. If I'm looking at both, just by what you just explained.
Yeah, I mean, now that you explained it, I get it now.
Okay, very good. Tori, do you see something else here that does not go? Because you both were a little bit iffy about it.
The time zone.
The time zone was a big one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and we discussed that here. Now I'll go to Brenda. What do you see here that you didn't catch? Or,
In the category.
yeah, for the categories. How they grouped it.
Something that we didn't get or communication. I like that one, the communication. That's something that we did not get. But other than that, everything is about the same.
But yet, you mentioned these in your other categories, right?
Yeah, but
You didn't see that as
Yeah.
communication under communication?
I mean, if you could put everything together, everything transportation, everything communication in some ways, and everyone has something similar. But we wanted to change it up a little bit.
Well, I'm sure now you're realizing a few things as they are too. Okay, because during the interaction, as far as grouping them, you had your own thought process, and I like that you were talking to one another to come up with the categories. Another one that was, I see, as far as the heading was construction. And Ruby, does it make sense to you? Or do you have anything different to say about it?
No, I mean like span means like that means when they started constructing our railroads across the country and stuff, like across the continent. So yeah, construction.
So, Tori, how did you come up with the construction? Because that too is probably here for you. Where do you see that? You have it in transportation, and then you have the time zones, right?
They have transportation, time zones in their transportation category.
Yes. Some of them do overlap, right? You asked me about it, and I said, yes, you can overlap. Some of them, I'm sure, do overlap.
Yeah, we put time zones in transportation and communication.
Okay. Actually, I was talking about the construction there. Railroads and Carnegie. Okay. All right, so this, you classified all these inventions on your, by just grouping them on your own. You discussed it, and you came up with the concept. So, my only request in the beginning was, think of 3 inventions, put them up on the board, and let's divide the groups. You work on them. So, what did you get out of this?
I think it helps us think logically. Helps us categorize things.
Put things in perspectives and how it worked and how it affects and what it goes to.
And if you, how they go together and
Yeah.
But if you look at this, everything is what?
Connected.
I mean, you can't have this without this, you can't have this without that, right? Everything. And these times here were very important for all of this to come together. So within a span of what, 50 years, we have what we have today, really. Okay, everything that we have today is, not everything, but much of what we use on a daily basis had roots. It was very productive time, okay? So,
I feel like even though like some of those things are kind of small, like they make a big impact today.
yes, I mean, visually you can see, just Edison on his own, he had the most patents. What are patents? Who remembers?
Aren't they like a draw up of an invention?
So you have an idea, you want to put it,
It's
Work-
legally theirs.
you
It's
have to
legally their
go,
idea.
exactly, so it's patented. So Edison had the most patents at that time.